is Senator Abdul Ningi, and I represent Bauchi Central, Bauchi State. Let me join the Senate President in welcoming you, Professor George. Let me begin by saying you were born in 1967. That makes you a middle-aged person. That tells you that your golden years is still ahead of you. This position that you've been nominated for, you have now become the attention of Nigeria and the international community. And looking at your resume, in particular on page 11, Academic Professional Awards, you mentioned Richard Akinjide for Best Overall Student of 1987, late Gali Brown Peterside, prize for the Best Overall Law Student, University of Jos, prize for the Best Overall Student, Fulbright Scholarship, visiting researcher at the University of Iowa, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, and Dr. Teslim Award of Meritorious Service. The agency that you are about to take over is not a stranger to professors. Professor Henry Wosu, Professor Jega, and Professor Yakubu, Professor Iwu, and so on and so forth. What that tells you and tells Nigeria, the issue is not about academic excellence. It has to do with someone's upbringing, his forthrightness, his fairness, and his patriotism, and of course, the love of this country. As a member of electoral committee, courtesy of the Senate, we have traversed this country. And one of the highlights of our public interaction is the demand for transmissions of results real time. And that encapsulates a lot of logistics, but more particularly about the mindset of the leader of that agency. What do you understand by transmission of results real times? And do you think that, like most Nigerians think, that this is tenable, this is achievable? What is your position about transmission of the real times? Thank you, Mr. President.
Now, also addressing Senator Ningi question, participation and love for Nigeria, there's going to be aggressive voters education and civic education, so that INEC will perform that role under Section 2 of the Act, which is a major responsibility to ensure that people are educated. You build capacity not just of your staff, of all the election stakeholders, including the political parties, the members of political parties, the masses, as well as technocrats and elites. So we will embark on aggressive civic education and build capacity to be able to confront those challenges. On the issue of transmission of real time, I was looking at the amendment to the Electoral Act. We are going to look at what it is as it is now. Thankfully, it's not been concluded. So if I'm giving the nod, I will have the opportunity to make my own input and also to look at the decision of courts and see how that issue can be addressed. I spoke to it earlier on that nobody seemed to even understand what it was. And a lot of people felt it was another collation system. But Supreme Court said it was not. So we just need to look at it and see what is on ground. So when we get there, we'll see what is on ground, the infrastructure, and how best to approach it. Because we understand the fact that it can add credibility to our election. Distinguished Senator Tambuasa, I want to identify some areas which I believe have already been handled in the amendment. For instance, the issue of timeline, which is requiring the amendment of the Constitution. But apart from that, there are even inconsistent timeline provisions within the Act itself. Because you set some timelines which is in contradiction with another provisions on timeline. So all those issues will have to be streamlined and ensure that there are no ambiguities. And then we have election litigation. So we are going to see how an election is credible so that the loser will even come and congratulate the winner and say you won fairly and well. So if we can do that, it's just like a judge convicting a person, sentencing him to death, and you say, well done, because I believe I've got injustice. And the distinguished Senator Goje